Greetings guys on my crime channel. In Russia, a thief in law is a member of a group of thieves who is obliged to comply with the thieves' laws, customs, traditions. The thief is crowned by the gathering of thieves, which also debunks the guilty. The cruelest punishment for a thief in law is death. Death is punished only for treason. A traitor is someone who has betrayed his accomplices, cooperated with the police, stolen the common fund, killed a thief without the sanction of the gathering, left the thief's clan, and finally gave up. When the traitor arrives at the next thieves' gathering, he does not even suspect that his life is on the agenda. The thief, who has discovered the traitor, informs his brotherhood. The assembled thieves demand confirmation. Then the suspect is given the floor. If he fails to prove that it is a lie, his business is bad. There was a case where the suspected thief first slapped the offender and only then proved his innocence. After that, the fraternity murmured approvingly. So when assembling a gathering, the thief accuser hoards evidence so as not to undermine his own credibility. If betrayal is proven, the fraternity chooses the method of execution. Sometimes they try to imitate suicide. The victim is offered to fulfill the second part of the thief's oath, since the first was broken, to accept death for treason without question. There is less dust with the suicide. The traitor must write a suicide note, "Please blame no one for my death," after which the traitor is given a pistol with one bullet. The thief has no choice, and he is even glad of such an execution, for sometimes the punishment is even worse. It is considered a lucky death. If the thief, feeling his end, did not show up at the meeting, then the thieves also appoint an executioner. Among thieves, there is a liquidator who works as an accident. He has in his repertoire a dozen ways to send the victim to the afterlife so that the police report and the subsequent investigative file was written that died as a result of an accident or as a result of improper handling fire and the like. The victims of this executioner smoked in bed, do not know how to swim, careless on the roads, use self-medication. Sometimes these killers have in their arsenal of seductive maidens, whom they give to the victim. After a stormy night with a pretty girl, the traitor will not wake up. The thieves' gathering can choose a particularly cruel method of execution. It all depends on the guilt. There was a case in Russia when a convict was shoved into a section of an oil pipeline under construction and the entrance was welded shut. In order to crawl to the exit, it was necessary to overcome about 100 kilometers. When the thief saw the light a week later, he was no longer able to think straight. He was treated for a long time by psychiatrists, took tranquilizers, but was unable to regain his previous peace of mind. The thief was afraid of the dark, he shied away from metal objects, he was hysterical in cramped rooms, and he smelled rust everywhere. Finally, after suffering for 2 years, during another nightmare, the patient broke a window and jumped out of the 4th floor of the psychiatric hospital. In the 1930s, punishment with concrete mortar was especially popular. A suicide bomber was put in a basin and poured with concrete, then thrown into a swamp or pushed into a river. The execution was born in Russia, not among American or Italian gangsters. Once a thief had his eyes gouged out, his tongue cut out, and a nail hammered in each ear. The thief did not show up for the showdown and tried to flee. The executioner caught up with him on the train. It is said that the execution took place right in the compartment. Having finished the procedure, the executioner left a note on the table: "He who has ears, let him not hear, and he who has eyes, let him not see." In prison, the execution of a traitor usually takes place in the industrial sector, among machinery, machines, boilers, and furnaces. Here the killer has a lot of room to turn around. The heads of his victims get caught in the gears, and under the presses, the bellies bump into the pins, and 10 times. The condemned may take 380 volts AC on their tongue or find themselves under a ton of suddenly collapsed stack of logs. Among the traitors, some are so tough that the thieves' mob hires several assassins familiar with grenade launchers, sniper firearms, and blasting. The thief may be escorted by bodyguards and driven around in an armored car. Stabbing one into a pipe or flattening his head with a baler is very problematic.